Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Yeah, I mean, because I would have loved to have been able to do a Scatman Crothers. that would have been, Megatron, you're going down. But
into the ocean, let's be daring. The last one in is a rusty herring.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me is
TF2 and Mike.
Yo, yo, yo.
This is episode Heinz 157.
Heinz 57.
157, since it's 157 for us.
57, it sounds better.
Yeah. I made that joke on Powers of Grayskull recently when we released episode 57, and Optimus Solo just shook his head. That's all he could do. He's like, no. And I might have you put this. I might actually go in the post for this episode and put it in there. I actually grabbed a picture of a Heinz 57 bottle of ketchup. So I am not going to California in September, October. I am still here. I postponed it to December. Long, boring story, but everything is still going smoothly as far as that goes. And on top of that, I'm kind of glad I postponed it because now, this morning, as of this recording, I woke up with a friggin' cold. And I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. How the hell can I get a damn cold? I don't interact with people.
It's that time of year.
You can't get a cold from the internet.
But
yeah. Well, your computer can get a cold from the internet. I can't get a cold from the internet. There's just no way.
Not like South Park. AIDS for everyone.
Oh, Lord. So you are getting into the field of animation.
Yeah, as strange as that may be. I wasn't intending on it, but it's not too bad.
Yeah. All I can think of is that episode of Tiny Toon Adventures, where they have to do their it's kind of fitting since you've done a student film already, but they had to do an animated student film, and the whole time Plucky's trying to learn, and yeah, I love that episode of Tiny Toon Adventures. So what is going on? This is something new, folks. It's bright and sunny outside. We're recording this at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. We haven't done a morning record together in, 5.5 years?
Oh, it's not even bright and sunny.
Okay, well, here it is.
Here
Maybe not there in Michigan.
That's the rain. It's like Mother Nature's like, here, take a dump on everybody. Cold weather for everyone.
I'm just so sad. I'm a sad, strange little Mother Nature this morning, apparently.
Ooh, sad, strange little man.
Okay. So, since we've already talked about ketchup and 57 and Heinz and all that, I figure we ought to bring this up first. Now, as I've said before in the show, how normally I find my news articles, even though I do look for reputable website sources, I find them through Facebook Trending. So Facebook Trending puts up 3 main articles on the right-hand side of my Facebook thing, and you can look through other things as well. But one of the ones that showed up a few days ago was 1,000 signed petition calling In-N-Out Burger to introduce Veggie Burger. As soon as I saw this, I shared the link. My post says, "We done need no stinking veggie burger." Grr.
Well,
and
it's like I'm of the opinion that it's not necessarily a bad thing of having a burger to that extent.
I mean, if you want a veggie burger, go to Red Robin. They have all kinds of burgers at Red Robin.
In-N-Out should have a petition to have one created because people want to eat there. It's called find somewhere that supports your lifestyle and go there. Don't force
Right.
some other organization to cater to you because you feel like, oh, they should make a veggie burger because that's what I believe.
Well, here's the thing. If no one knows, and I'm only finding out about this now since my fiance lives out in California, and I've got a couple other friends out in California as well. I've known about it for a while, but In-N-Out Burger, for those that don't know, they have a very simple menu. You can either get a double burger, a cheeseburger, a hamburger, fries, shakes, or soda. That's pretty much it. There's no fancy nothing here. It's just very simple. I assume because I've never had them. Good, old-fashioned kind of hamburger joint kind of thing. So when I posted this, several of my friends commented on it, and I'm actually going to read some of these comments. My buddy Mark said, want a veggie burger? Go home and make one. In-N-Out has been beef burgers. Fucktards. Your brother, Kevin, order that burger above minus the meat, and presto, you have a veggie burger. And basically, it's the bun and the cheese and the lettuce. Dan Reba, most people will know Dan Reba as, I believe he was director/producer on Batman Beyond and Justice League. How can you be a fan of the franchise if you're a vegan? And I replied to him, I have no clue. And he says, I didn't eat red meat for a while. I ate animal-style grilled cheese and fries. Really good, but vegans don't eat cheese, so they can't eat the so they can eat the fries. And my last reply to him was, if they were anti-French, then they couldn't even eat the fries. And then my buddy Mark, the final comment on this: if humans were not meant to eat meat, we would all be if humans were not meant to eat meat, we would all be cows. The CDC says most vegans die of malnutrition from lack of vitamins you get from eating meat. I know. Let's genetically engineer fetuses to be herbivores.
Well, put it this way: the amount of hormones that they pump into meat is ridiculous,
Right.
which is why people are hitting puberty much earlier. See, and the problem is people attack what they don't know, and this goes with any subject. It's not just food; it's anything. Look at geekdom. Look at whatever. It's the same story. So people that are vegetarian actually can live, because I know quite a few people that do it, live pretty full lives. The thing is you got to have a balance of different types of food. You don't necessarily have to eat meat to get that same nutrients.
Yeah.
Because meat, actually, if it's not organic meat, it's not healthy for you anyway. None of it. Processed or the crap you buy at the store that doesn't say organic on it. Because
Yeah.
if you ever watch any of the documentaries where, and my wife and I have been doing this because my son has food allergies.
Right.
And we've discovered that Nolan does as well. They can't drink cow's milk because something in the milk causes them to have problems breathing, and they start coughing a lot. Like they have a cold, but it's not a cold. It's only when they have dairy. So
Right.
we've had to eliminate dairy. I'm the only one in the house that can eat dairy.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, Mary can too, but it causes her to gain weight. So, like, she can't have it either. So,
Right.
so like Ian, when he gets cheese, there's a vegan alternative to cheese where you use vegetables and like cashews and you blend them together, and it actually does taste pretty blasted close to cheese.
Right.
And then
And I mean-
they have to drink soy milk because they can't have dairy. And so, like, I've had veggie burgers. They're fine if they're made right, because Mary found a particular kind that I didn't even know it was a veggie burger until I was biting into it and I saw part of a carrot in it. And she scratched. Like, it was like a shaving of a carrot. And I noticed
Right.
the orange in there, and I'm like, it's a veggie burger? And she's like, yeah. And I says, huh. And then I just kept eating it. Like, but, again, you have to counterbalance whatever you're eating. We still eat meat. We're not, vegan or vegetarian. We eat primarily more vegetables now than we did, and more like organic grown food. which has improved all of our health. Like I rarely eat out, and when I do, it's not grease food, nothing that's been in a deep fryer, because I get sick whenever I have something from a deep fryer.
Right.
But like I love a good steak, I love a good hamburger, I love a good, chicken breast, but like and we still eat that stuff and we still eat fish and whatever, but we don't eat pig anymore. We don't eat as much meat because it's all hormone induced to grow at triple the speed, so that it can get in the stores faster, so that it's actually like you're getting more stuff you shouldn't have.
Yeah. I mean, see, growing up in Massachusetts, it's one of those things where, and growing up in the 80s, back then, it was, we all used to go outside. We didn't need Pokemon Go to go outside and exercise. All we needed was, a decent breakfast, a somewhat school lunch, or if, your parents, made your lunch for you, that's fine. And then we have, I hate to sound like the Slim Fast commercial, you have a sensible dinner. So, dinners around our house were usually the big thing back then. And it didn't matter what we ate because everything else, like today, it's all about snacking through the day or eating when you can or eating when you're hungry. Back when I was a kid, we had breakfast, lunch, a light snack maybe after school, dinner, and then a really light snack like right before bed, like maybe 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30. We would usually eat dinner around 5:30. So, and as a kid, I usually ended up going to bed by 9 o'clock. So it's one of those things where I was used to eating like my mom used to make American chop suey. We would have spaghetti, we would have burgers, we'd have steak, we'd have fish, we'd have chicken, we'd have all this stuff. And, this is back in the day before, no fructose corn syrup and what's the other big thing of anti know this, know that anymore? It's
Anti-gluten.
Yeah. We didn't worry about gluten in the 80s. Now look at all of us, we're all glutton-filled heathens. But it's just one of those things where it's so different now compared to what it was when I was a kid, where like everybody is so worried about all this, and yet the obesity problems in this country, in America specifically, still happen and still are continuing to grow, which is kind of sad.
A lot of it is the food. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's what you're putting in you. Like 90% of everything out there is processed, and they do make it insanely difficult to eat healthy because all of the healthy food is expensive, and anything that's bad for you is cheap. And so they make it so that, one, people don't make enough money to eat healthy.
Yeah.
And two, they eat all the junk because that's what's easily accessible and it's ready now, as opposed to taking the time to making it. But people are so busy nowadays that there's not one parent at home cooking for the family. There's not, and I'm not gonna lie, it hurts a little bit, having Mary at home, but the same token, she's got a much harder job being at home, taking care of the kids in the house and cooking and all that stuff. Like, and she still gets to do what she wants to do, but like she's so insanely busy that I don't know how she gets everything done. Like, I got to give her props on that. I have no idea. Like, the kids, the screaming drives me nuts, and I'm around them like 2 hours a day. And I'm at work 10 hours a day. And so, like, I have no idea how she deals with it all day. But a lot of it boils down to, people don't have good meals for them, and people don't exercise. People sit in front of a device all the time. And that's just the way things are now. It's not.
And I know the Pokemon Go thing, and I'm not trying to harp on that at all, but I know that game, when that game first hit, everybody's like, oh, go out and exercise, go out and search for Pokemon, and that got people exercising, and that's all well and good. But like I said, we come from an era where we didn't need a video game to go out and play baseball. We didn't need, a video game to go play in a youth basketball league, or we wanted to go outside. We wanted to have, my house. Okay, well, when I was little, we lived in a duplex apartment, a 2-story duplex half and half apartment building. My grandfather, and my 3 uncles built us a house, I don't know, about 15 minutes away from where the apartment was. So we lived in that house from 88 to 93 when I came down here to Kentucky. So this was up in Massachusetts from 1988 to 1993. You know, where they built this house, it was like, it's almost like swampland a little bit, but it was fine. But there was like a giant hill and some woods on like the side and the back of it, and then behind it was train tracks. So I had a train going through every afternoon at 3:30 when I would come home to watch He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Usually the train came through. So it's one of those things where I would go out and I would go running in the woods, because the woods were right by my house. It wasn't anything. It wasn't like a super giant forest where I could get lost. You know what I mean? It was just a small patch of woodland area. And it's one of those things where, you know, I'd go out and, you know, kick a soccer ball around, or I'd go out and you know, throw up baseballs and hit them and whatever else. I would have my own exercise. I would do my own exercising. I didn't need something to encourage me to do so. But now society, and even nowadays in my life, it's like, you know, you were talking about the convenience of fast food. For me, it's not so much that I don't want to sit here and cook stuff. It's getting it from the grocery store to my apartment. Because of my mild case of cerebral palsy, I do not drive. So an actual grocery store is about 20 blocks away. Convenience stores, which have, you know, little microwavable burgers and that kind of thing, that's about 2 blocks away from my house. But it's just one of those things where I would rather rely on something like Schwans.com, which I've been using for the past 6 years, which is a food delivery system where they actually deliver you food items that you can make meals with. You know, so it's one of those things where for me now it's like, oh, sure, you know, I'll eat this, and this, and this, and this. The other aspect of it is I know I should probably go out and get a real job, not that I could, but living off of disability, it doesn't go as far as everyone thinks it does. So, but yeah, no, I saw this In-N-Out burger thing, and I'm like, really? And like you said, if you're a vegan, go someplace where they have those options. Don't sit here and apparently over 18,000 people have signed this petition. I think in the link I sent you, the video says once the petition hits 20,000, whatever, I forget the organization that made the petition. Once it hits 20,000, they're going to submit it to In-N-Out, and whatever happens, I guess. But yeah, that was one thing I saw that we could talk about this week, and obviously we just did. The other thing I noticed was I get emails because I'm on IDW's press list. So I get emails for various press releases and things like that. They sent me an email. Comics industry unites with Love is Love benefit book in support of Orlando tragedy. So if anyone remembers the Orlando tragedy at the nightclub, at the Pulse nightclub a few months ago, earlier this year, at some point, I forget when I don't remember off the top of my head when it actually happened. But basically, IDW, along with DC Entertainment, will honor the victims of Orlando's Pulse nightclub tragedy by publishing Love is Love, an anthology graphic novel curated by writer Mark Andreyko, who is a writer on Batwoman, Wonder Woman 77, in the wake of this devastating event. Andreyko assembled a group of fellow comic book creators to contribute to the benefit project. Andreyko received an overwhelming response across the comic book community and beyond, with over 200 writers and artists lending their talents to Love is Love, a collection of over 100 short graphic stories. All material has been donated by the writers, artists, and editors, with all proceeds going to victims, survivors, and their families via Equality Florida. I think this is a wonderful thing that they're doing. I think this is great. I think this is something that kind of gets the comics industry kind of noticed. I know it's not there to get them noticed, but this is something that, hey, what kind of regular news media outlet is going to report on something like this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to see this on your local news. You're not going to see this on the Today Show. You're not going to, you know what I mean? So I just absolutely love that IDW and DC are teaming up to kind of put this out there, and I think it's great, and I think it's going to be wonderful to support those families and all that from that tragedy. What else did you want to bring up this week? What do you got in your altered sleeve up there?
My altered sleeve.
I don't know.
So yeah, like I said, I've been working on this side project for class for quite some time.
Right.
And for those that don't know, you'll get to see it coming this week on my Altered Geek channel. I'm going to be promoting the Top 100. And I was like, for my school video, I had to create an introduction to an event. And I was like, I don't really know what event I wanted to do. Like, I didn't know if I wanted to make something up, if I wanted to,
Right.
You know, I didn't know what to do. And so I went through and decided I'm going to do a top 100 promo video, and it has to be 45 seconds in length. I recorded it, did it in front of a green screen. Realized when I got done with it, I figured out how to do the green screen effect in Adobe After Effects, and that wasn't the problem. The problem was I wasn't animated very much like I am when I'm recording this podcast. Like, I do a lot of hand movements and I'm talking, and there's a lot of facial features. I'm reading off a script that I taped to my wall, which is behind my webcam, and I'm trying to look at this and trying to act like I'm paying attention to what I'm recording. But because the little dot on the webcam is so tiny, I could not focus on it. And I was having a hard time reading because I didn't have my glasses on. And so I'm looking kind of like random locations at points. So it looks like I'm like Crazy Eyes from like, Billy Madison type thing or the Wedding Singer type.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about that is I actually have that. I've done that in pictures, but it's not, for me, it's not intentional. It's something wrong with my eyes because but I know what you're talking about.
I don't do it intentionally either, but
Right.
I was not staring into the camera, and so I realized this when I'm sitting here trying to edit this, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to edit this and make it look decent. So I took it out, and of course I didn't know too that if I exported in a certain way because I couldn't get rid of there was something else wrong with the video too. So I recorded another video here at work on a break, and it's only 45 seconds, so I recorded it twice, and I got a white wall behind me, and then I'm trying to edit out the white wall and realize it's not going to work. And then I realized why it's not going to work, and it's because I'm wearing a white shirt. So
and
I wasn't very animated in that either, but the vocals were good on it because the video, when it records, it takes really good audio quality on my phone. So I was like, I can keep the audio for it because, like, regardless, the teacher's going to give me 4 chances. He's going to give everybody 4 chances to get this like perfect for the highest grade. So the first nitpick is going to be like he's going to rip it to shreds anyway, and that's everybody. So I'm going to have to, like, between now and then figure out what I want, because I also have to plan for the next assignment, which I can't remember what it is right now. But there's another one where you get to create like either a animated logo video or get a fake TV show promo. Which, if that's the case, like, I can make. I'm pretty sure I can make something with animation with my Altered Generations, but
right.
So I'm trying to figure out this like all the way, and I don't know if he's gonna make me do live footage of something, but I'm trying to animate everything with skills I'm learning in After Effects, and then, like I told you off air, I had to cut pieces out of this image of my avatar so that I could actually animate them
right.
individually. And and then I come to the conclusion I can't animate the mouth. I had to create different versions of the mouth. So there's like 8 versions that I'm going to have to play with and see if it looks halfway decent or if it's going to look like garbage, in which case I'm going to have to like retool the mouth. But I thought about cutting out a hole and making it look like, like the Thumb Wars type thing when it's got somebody's mouth superimposed in the,
Right.
so it looks really stupid. But like, I haven't gotten to that point yet because I think it'd be funny. And the whole point of this class is so that we can use this stuff to make a demo reel, which I'm not quite sure if this qualifies. But in any case, there's still like skills used in it, so I don't know. It needs to be polished, that's for sure, but it's going to work out for what I'm trying to do at the moment. But everybody will get to see at least the rough cut on Monday before I get the final edit. So, yeah, that's one thing that's been going on. The other thing is I'm kind of trying to figure out what to do next on some other content for the show.
Right.
Not quite sure yet. Some cool news though that dropped yesterday. More Power Rangers casting info.
Yeah, IMDb also had the images of the Zords, or the posters for the Zord things.
The
Yeah.
Zord in the pictures that looked like the Zord was the Triceratops.
Yeah.
None of the rest of them you could figure out what the heck they were.
Well, the problem I had was when the IMDb link showed up, it showed this giant over top advertisement. Like, they didn't want anyone to steal the image. Like, you know what I mean? So like I couldn't see, like I'd have to look behind. It's kind of like them putting a watermark on it, but they didn't put a watermark on it. It was weird. But yeah, so the Zords came up. What other casting came up?
Guess who's playing Alpha 5?
Arsenio Hall.
No. Bill Hader
Wait.
from SNL.
Yeah.
I could see that. He does really goofy voices, and he can do. He was in. He played Flint Lockwood in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
Right.
and he can do a lot of weird voices. So I think that he'll play it off really well. Plus, they're going to keep the I.
Yeah.
So I think if they're not going to go with the original, I think that he's a good choice. I mean, he's at least versatile.
Yeah. That's true.
And I like the actor; he's pretty good. So.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1 releases their final system requirements, which, yeah, I mean, the minimum requirements are Windows 7, 8, or 10, and then Pentium Core i5, 8 gig of RAM, 50 gig hard drive space, and then the maximum is like Windows 10 or an i7 processor, 16 gig of RAM, and 50 gig hard drive space. So I'm covered either way because like I have 12 gigs of RAM, and then I have Windows 10, and then my video card isn't like the greatest, but I've got a Core i3 processor, but it ran fine on my computer. So, because I have a beastly machine and it's on a solid state hard drive, which makes an insane difference when you're playing a game. So,
Oh yeah.
because it's flash memory, it's instantaneous. There's no moving parts. So I'm looking forward to playing it. Of course, I still don't have any money to play it, but time will tell. And then yes, some of the shows came back this week.
Gotham came back. Yep.
Came back. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came back. Big Bang Theory came back.
Oh, I missed that one. I'll have to go on CBS's website and find it. A
One,
lot of new stuff is premiering this past week too.
yeah, I'm not sure what's premiering next. I know first week of October, there's like most of the shows will be back by then. But
Yeah.
Gotham was surprisingly good.
Yeah, Gotham was I'm kind of really interested now to see where the story goes now that Jim is kind of evil.
Well, Jim's a bounty
No.
hunter now,
Yeah.
so it's interesting. Got to see Killer Croc, the birth of Poison Ivy.
Well, we didn't really see her birth. We saw her death.
Well,
So, for folks who
Yeah,
haven't seen
I-
Gotham's... yeah, for those who haven't seen Gotham season 3, episode 1 yet, basically, and this is not a spoiler, I don't think, but basically what it is they recast the child Ivy Pepper, the character Ivy Pepper. They recast her in a more adult starring
And
role.
they have an interesting way of throwing that at the end of the episode. And
Right.
you'll
Yeah.
put two and two together when you see something happen, and then the next episode will focus on her as her new adultish version.
Yep.
And then that was pretty good. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got to see Ghost Rider,
Yeah.
which was good.
Like I said, I have not seen Big Bang yet, so I'll have to catch that. Some of the new ones.
But
Go ahead.
it's not really that. There was nothing that special to it, I don't think. Honestly, like I wasn't really into it, but I'll give it a shot. I mean, I'm still going to keep watching it. I think it was kind of a weak intro to the season and the way that they left the last season. And it was funny, but it wasn't like that spectacular.
Yeah, I got to go back, and I've almost become like Mary in that instance with Big Bang. I got to go back and watch the season 9 finale because I do not remember what the hell happened. One of the other shows that has been getting a lot of stuff is Fox's Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah, I watched that yesterday. That was
so basically they're making a Lethal Weapon series. It's based on the films, but it's different cast, different characters, and different stories. There are very similar things. Roger is still 50. He's married. He and his wife are a little bit more sexual in this than they were in the films. Riggs' wife, they do a really cool story. I can't wait to see if anything else happens with that, like if that was planned or if that was just an accident, kind of like in the movies. I like the pilot overall for Lethal Weapon. Like I said on Facebook, it was better than I expected it to be. Because you know how we are. We just see, oh, Lethal Weapon, cash grab. Oh, no, they're going to screw it up. And surprisingly, it's doing fairly. I mean, I'm really excited to see the next episode of that.
Mm-hmm. I was really interested, and I was a lot more invested because you got more backstory, you got more interesting stuff going on, and it was very true to the films and the characters. So, in that regard, I was very, very happy with how it played out. I think I was more interested in that than any other cop show I've watched in recent time. So, I have high hopes for that.
I think when I posted about it on Facebook, our buddy Dan Clark from Talking in Circles on GCRN said his only worry was if it's just going to turn into another standard cop procedural. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Yeah, I hope not too.
Because if it's got like an overarching storyline, I'm really hoping that's how they go with it. But some other interesting stuff that popped up. They got our first shot of Jumanji.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be more of a sequel reboot without like doing away with everything that's been.
I don't even. Yeah.
I'm interested because it's got The Rock in it. It's got Jack Black. It's got it's funny. I can't remember his name right now. I don't want to sound like a dick either. He's in a couple movies. Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Pretty
yeah.
funny. So I mean, you got a bunch of funny people, and then you got Karen Gillian from like Doctor Who fame and Guardians of the Galaxy. In it, and everybody's losing their mind over what she's dressed in, and they're like, "There's a reason," blah blah blah. Like, so like, I'm wondering if it's like a kid that's aged up or something, and because of the game. But
yeah.
So yeah, I mean the promo photo looks pretty interesting, and to have no kids in it, have a different take on it. I mean, I was just glad that they aren't doing a reboot with the exact premise of Robin Williams' film.
Right.
Because their story was done at the end of that film, and I really didn't want to see them touch on that. So like after the game floated away, I feel like that's, it gets found like 20 years later, and that's where this takes place.
Right, yeah.
So I think that that's very tasteful in how they chose to do it.
Yep.
Netflix wants 50% of its content to be original.
Yeah.
So, and they also have no problem canceling shows, but the thing that's funny about it is they don't give any kind of ratings.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what their ratings or their watch count is for any of the shows but them. Which is a bit odd when you're counting television shows because, you know, I don't know how you would even measure it if you're not going to, you know, because if a show got a lot of hits on Netflix, it could have the possibility of being revived, but they would be the only ones that would know about it.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess it works in their favor too, but because then they get the right to say, hey, we'll front the money to make the show, so we can carry it, you know. They need to contact me though, because I have my own show that I want to do. And
Oh, that's
Amazon's
funny.
me out for like 60 days before telling me no. So, or saying that they were going to pass on it at this time, or more or less. So,
Yeah.
my own
I
superhero time travel show.
Yeah, that could work.
But it's different from the other ones, so that's. I'll explain that in another episode again, but.
Yeah. I noticed this morning, as we recorded this about 2 hours ago, TNT Drama, so essentially the channel TNT. Cancel your plans. For the first time ever, the Star Wars 6-film saga will air in its entirety this weekend on TNT. So anyone that still has cable or whatever else, if you want to watch all 6 Star Wars with commercials, go to TNT.
Yep. I don't have cable, so.
Yeah.
Doesn't faze me.
Nope.
So yeah, that aside, YouTube, you're gonna love this, has a new thing called YouTube Heroes, where it gets volunteers to moderate videos for points and perks. The only issue that I've seen with this, and I've been watching YouTubers comment about it, is if you get somebody that still hates somebody, they could still flag it as inappropriate just because.
Right.
But they're making it so that the users police the content, and if you do get enough points and you build up a reputation well enough, you actually get to talk to actual people from YouTube. You know, whereas Google doesn't give anybody access to how to contact them. You can be a YouTube hero. And they basically it's, work for us for free, do all this work, and then you might get to talk to somebody important.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they give you exclusive workshops and sneak preview product launches. They set you up with an account. I'd be interested in finding out more about it to figure out how that's going to come into play.
Right.
It's like they have 5 levels. Like, level 1 is become a hero, 0 to 9 points. Join the community and access the heroes dashboard. 10 to 99 points, you learn at exclusive workshops, take part in hero hangouts. Level 3 is get access to total or super tools, 100 to 399 points. Mass flag abusive videos, which I could just see as a problem if somebody's not, if somebody has a problem with somebody, they could just mass flag all of their videos on a channel.
Yeah.
Go behind the scenes, 400 to 99 or 999 points. Sneak preview product launches, contact YouTube staff directly. And level 5s get closer to YouTube, 1,000 points. You test products before release and apply for the Heroes Summit. I have no idea what any of that means, but you got to have a YouTube channel that's valid with no suspended or inactive stuff on it. Basically, you got to be on the up and up. But Yeah, I'd be interested to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they put it all. But it's just one of those things where I'm just so like I said. I think I said this last week, or I might have said it the week before. I forget. Whatever the last time I was on. For me and YouTube, it's essentially a research tool now. I watch several things on there, but I know several people that watch nothing but YouTube series and things like that, and that's fine. But for me, I don't know. I'm not on YouTube as much as I was, let's say, back in 2011 or 2010.
Yeah, I watch more YouTube than I listen to podcasts at this point, which is kind of interesting. I enjoy it. A lot of the stuff on there.
Right.
I don't expect to make money off of it. Like, I enjoy putting out videos and doing stuff, occasionally. I don't expect to make a living off of it. Like some people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the new YouTube hero." I don't expect that any regard. Like, I mean, yeah, if I make money off it, great. I mean, I have videos monetized, but I'm not like gonna, you know, quit my job and go be a YouTuber and whatnot. Not that I have a problem with people that do it, but it's not. I don't think it's feasible anymore because it's already. You either had to be on the early bandwagon or, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy YouTube. I spend a lot of time on it.
Yep. What else we got this week? What else is going on?
There's something I was going to talk about too, and I can't remember what it is. Like, I think it was about Halloween.
Oh yeah. So Steve and his wife are not allowing their children to participate in Halloween anymore.
It is for two reasons, but
go ahead.
First one being last year when we took the boy out to do Halloween, the amount of like almost violent costumes and really freaky looking costumes, like they were enough to like freak me out a little bit. And the kid like would freeze like a statue, shake, and then have nightmares for like days, because of it. And he's like, he's dressed as like 1970s Batman, like, so it's like the little blue costume and whatnot, or he was like Buzz Lightyear last year, but the year before he was Batman. But still, what I mean, he's dressed as like these smaller things, and you get all these adults running around where it's supposed to be like for kids at these events, and they're all dressed in this dark costumes and like freaky looking, like blood dripping werewolf, alien, whatnot, dead people from Saw, zombies, whatever. So like in that regard, like I don't agree with it. And so in turn, because Mary's never really cared for it anyway, and with that, it was kind of like the last straw to me.
Right.
Plus, it's getting too freaky out there anymore. I get that people enjoy it, and I used to enjoy it too. But I guess, I don't know, being a parent and seeing what it did to my kid, like I don't want to do that to him anymore, and Mary either. So we're not going to participate in Halloween anymore. Plus, we're trying to get away from a lot of that kind of stuff because of our beliefs.
Right.
So it's between that and like we're cutting out a lot of television, we're cutting out a lot of films. Like if a movie has an obscene amount of swearing and I can handle it, like even myself, I can handle it here or there. I'm trying not to swear anymore. I'm trying to not have it on the show anymore. I'm trying to like clean up just for ease of access purposes. So like even at home, like if there's a movie that has a ton of swearing in it, we'll either A, shut it off, or B, I'll usually continue watching something regardless, but it's because I'm like the house filter.
Yeah.
And the more I found that, we both discovered this, like Mary and I have, the more you're exposed to certain types of like blood, guts, gore, action, swearing, the more it doesn't faze you.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like I guess you could say we're becoming like the old like curmudgeons of like our grandparents of, back in my day it was movies weren't so filthy and you know, but I find that I'm enjoying other kind of content more because of it. Like my palate has been refined in a sense because like I have the patience to sit through a documentary now, which, and I mean,
Whereas a year ago you didn't.
well, it's still the topic still has to appeal to me, but they used to put me to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and I would pick up stuff here or there, but like I'm because I'm not watching a lot of that go and crazy stuff. I'm not. I don't know. I find the more intelligent content more enticing to my brain, whereas before I liked a lot of the like, for instance, I can't watch like Wayne's World. I can't watch like old Jim Carrey movies for the most part unless it's like Ace Ventura or The Mask because they're just too stupid for me.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like I can't like I guess it's when your brain evolves, the mentality changes too. Like your brain supports more stuff. Like I support stronger writing over the weaker or
Yeah.
when they have to fill dialogue with insert swear word here 50,000 times like the recent Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that Adam Sandler movie wouldn't be bad. It would be a nice premise for a film for him because it's something different. But 90% of the film is a various swear word, and Adam Sandler's like dropping them left and right, which I know that he's always been vulgar,
Yeah.
but like he's just, it's sickeningly so vulgar. And then plus all the random like nudity and this stuff like just agitates me. And it's disgusting like nudity. It's not like, just a bare, slight sight of something. Like it's like full on like disgusting. Like so like
Yeah.
because I was trying to clean up the movie so that Mary could watch it, and I think it's like a 2-hour movie, and I cleaned it up.
Right.
It's 45 minutes long. And I was like, this isn't even worth watching. Like, I mean, I cleaned it up so you could understand enough of the dialogue, and I removed a lot of the garbage, but the amount of
Right.
like dead space I had to put in spots where he's like, FB, blah, 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 blah. Like, throughout the film, I just was like, this isn't worth my time.
Yeah.
But that's how Netflix is going, too. Like, most of their content, they want all of that. They want all of that hard R stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Eventually, I see myself getting away from Netflix altogether, but
I mean, as long as they still have some shows that I enjoy watching or some movies that I enjoy watching, like looking at my Netflix right now, I'm going back and rewatching through Johnny Test, which is on Cartoon Network. Phineas and Ferb stuff's on there, so I do that for the Phineas and Ferb show. They just added Zootopia, but they've got movies like Phenomenon, What Women Want, The Family Man, Before We Go, Serendipity, Minions is on there, Home. And
some of that
they got,
content is good anyway. So, like, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that, but, like, their original stuff, I just can't watch it.
yeah, some of the,
it's
like,
written, but I can't.
yeah, 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 a lot of the new Netflix stuff just, yeah, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I do not watch a lot of Netflix original series unless they are the Marvel stuff. And I still have not watched Jessica Jones. I know everyone's like, "Oh my God, you still have not watched that?" I know, I get it, but it's just one of those things where, for me, as I think I've said this before many times on the show, if I don't already know the character, it's going to take me a long time to want to actually watch and be introduced to the character. Like I know of Luke Cage, so I'll see that eventually, but I use Netflix for stuff that I used to have in my DVD collection. I don't use it for their original shows. The only original Netflix show I currently watch, and this is kind of lame, I know, I get it, but it's called Ever After High. And one of the only reasons why I watch it is because it has my buddy who I interviewed, Joe Sanfilippo. He is one of the narrators on that cartoon. It's basically Netflix and Mattel. Think of Monster High. You've heard of Monster High.
Yep.
it's essentially that, except it's the fairy tale world. So Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast, that kind of thing. But it's their offspring, it's their children. So it's a good show. I enjoy it, but that's pretty much the only Netflix original. I've tried some of the other Netflix original cartoons, like the Inspector Gadget one, and I think there was a Danger Mouse one and something else. I just didn't care for them. I don't know. Just didn't care for them. So.
Yep.
What is so funny is it always is funny to me now that I'm paying for both Netflix and Hulu, what shows up on either one or what leaves one to go to the other. But yeah. What else do we want to bring up?
Well, I
go
I
ahead.
asked about the comic
Yeah. Yep.
a few weeks back, and I totally forgot. That was my bad.
Right.
Just I had random stuff come up, then I broke my foot, and then
Yeah.
still healing from that. That's just a joyous process. I can walk almost normal. Still can't walk very fast unless I like limp, in which case I've got like partial speed back. My
Right.
toes are still black and blue, and that toe is still like it's attached. I can feel it, but like it hurts, and like my foot's still sore. It's still swelled up. So I'm not super happy about anything. Plus, it's getting cold, and I've got like another, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks of this, wearing my flip flop, and at least till I get my foot back in my shoe. That would just be wonderful.
Dude, come to Kentucky. It's going to be 90 degrees for the next.
Well, we're starting the 60s like tomorrow. Like today, it's 70 degrees.
Yeah,
Yesterday was 82.
yeah. And I know this is nail biting podcasting here, but over the next week, it's going to be anywhere from 90 to 81 with a few 70s in the middle of next week. For me, what it isn't so much the daytime temperature I have a problem with as far as the heat goes. It's the nighttime temperatures, and thank God the nighttime temperatures are going back to normal. Because here in Kentucky, the record high on 9/23 was actually in 2010 at 93 degrees. The record low was 37 degrees. The average high for this day here in Louisville is 78, and the average low is 54. So it's one of those things where I am more apt to the cold than the heat. I would, I can take negative degree temperatures for me because I'm originally from Massachusetts and it's just been ingrained in my blood all my life. I would rather have freezing cold temperatures than heat.
Yeah, I'm a fan of like warmer weather. I don't want hot,
Yeah.
but I do want warmer weather. I want like between like 75 and 80, and I'm happy there. I don't want anything like hotter than that.
Yeah, see, for me, it's more like 68 to 74. And if it's 68 to 74 with sometimes like a cool, like if it's a warm 74 degrees, but there's a cool breeze with it, that's fine. I love that. But yeah, I would, I've lived here in Louisville, Kentucky since 1993, so 23 years out of my life. And it's one of those things where everybody, even back then when I was 13 years old, would look at me crazy in December when I'm wearing shorts. And I'm like, it's only 30 degrees. It's not cold, people. Because coming from Massachusetts, our winters are, 25 degrees, 10 degrees, 5 degrees, and like I said before, sometimes below zero. So it's just one of those things where over my lifetime, I've built up an immunity to the cold, and I would much rather have that where I can sit there and go for a jog in 35-degree weather and actually be warm by the time I get home. Whereas if I just walk down the street in 100-degree heat, I'm ready to die. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So getting back to the comic,
Yeah, the comics.
I
Sorry,
don't
sorry
want
about that,
to. I don't want
Haley.
to forget
Yeah,
about that again.
yeah.
One of those things gets sidetracked very easily.
Yes.
Um, so I did read the very first issue written by Tom King
For Batman Rebirth,
for
yep.
Batman Rebirth. I have enjoyed it. I do like the brighter, coloring. I do like the better. I don't know, the not as grittiness to it, like in story and in graphics.
Right.
And it's more so because we've had, I don't know, about 15 years of like the darkest crap possible in Batman. Like, yeah, his life sucks and the city's dark, but Batman doesn't always have to be dark. And that's what I liked when I was, shuffling through and when had the, saw the interview with him talking about, his new direction for Batman. And I'm pleasantly surprised by Rebirth as a whole, what they're accomplishing and what they're bringing back to the table and what they're trying to like de-alienate people that when they rebooted with the New 52, to try and like, and they don't even deny it, like parts of the Rebirth still call back to New 52 and the original pre-New 52 pre-crisis stuff. But I love how they explain the gap,
Right.
with Wally West discovering that and then talking about it to Barry Allen and the other the actual Rebirth comic. But no, I like the new bat suit. I like the new direction. I haven't gotten past the first issue. I want to get the rest of it.
Right.
And it does
The
interest me enough that I'm waiting for them to finish this arc because I don't presently have the money for it right now. As I stated, like I'm on some financial issues and I'm trying to make sure that any website or domain related stuff towards the end of the year is paid first, and then if I have extra, I'm
Right.
getting stuff. But I want to get the trade
Yeah.
of this and then read it
Yeah.
all at once. That way I can do a
Yeah.
proper review of it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't do that very often because I don't generally like the stories enough to pick them up. But like I said,
Well, this is a whole new thing, yeah.
I like enough of the direction that they're going.
Right.
And while I did praise Snyder with some of his stuff when he first started, after that death of the family thing, I just didn't care anymore. It burned me. It irritated me by the last issue. Plus, during the issues, it was so dark, and then having to collect issues throughout different comic lines kind of bothered me. So when this comes out, I will give a more thorough review on it. We'll probably do like a pull bag on it.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'll probably do it with the Flash too because
the
anybody
Flash
with
Rebirth issue was awesome.
Yeah, well, and anybody with powers, that's my favorite superhero that has like superpowers.
Yeah.
My favorite that does not is Batman, but
yeah. So just for those that may or may not know, Batman Rebirth #1 was written by Snyder and King. I know that the rest of the series is written by King. The artist on this was Mikhail Janin. Colors were done by June Chung. And the cover was also done by Mikhail Janin. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got, as long as you're interested, we can always do pull bags. He and I have actually been talking off air, folks, for the pull bag. We're going to go back to the 2015 Batman Beyond series because they just started a new Batman Beyond Rebirth series. So we're going to go back to that eventually and do that. And the Rebirth issues I'm picking up that I'm interested to see in is Batgirl and Nightwing specifically. So yeah, just head on over to the pull bag for that kind of stuff. And like Steve said, we'll probably give like a mini snap, sneak peek preview thing of our thoughts here at some point on Altered Geek.
Oh yes, but think of the fun.
Yeah, I've only really read Flash and Batman Rebirth. I haven't really read most of the other ones because I have not. I think I mentioned this off air. I think the last time I bought any comics was April or May of this year. I'm just not in the financial position to be buying comics right now, and you know, they'll be there. It's not like they're going to go anywhere.
No, I mean, if there's a good sale, I'll probably buy them too. But like, I don't.
Oh yeah,
For when they come out every 2 weeks, like I just can't. I
yeah.
can't keep up financially, and I have two boxes, like two long boxes of comics at home that I never read. Never open, never read. Like a lot of them I bought because like I read them once and then I put them in the box and then I have not touched them since. Theoretically, I should get rid of all of my comics because I don't touch any of them and they just take up
Yeah.
a huge amount of space in my closet. But I can't part with them because I like the stories. But my problem is my memory is so good with the stories once I've read something, I can't
Right.
forget it.
Yeah.
It's like a movie or a television show. Like I know what happened last season and the last episode of the last second of every show that I've watched, and I was keeping up with 24 different shows. Now, mind you, I've already picked back up some of the ones I said I was going to drop, which I'm kind of surprised I did. But they put enough of me promos that I was like, oh, I'm going to watch this show again for at least a little bit, and then
Right.
we'll see how long they keep my interest. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of wanting to get back into the comics, but it's one of those, do I have the interest? Do I really want to? Like, I guess it just kind of boils down to that.
Right.
But I have enjoyed what I have read so far of Tom King's Batman. A
Yeah,
lot
and as-
better than Snyder's, in my opinion.
Well, okay, so let's
I
get into
enjoy
this
the
really.
art more because it's brighter. Like
Yeah.
I liked Capullo's stuff. He was good. He innovated a lot of it. But same token, I was ready for a change, so I'm glad he and Snyder moved to detective.
Yeah. So let's get into this really quick. I've said this before, and I know people are going to disagree with me. And we've already stated this. When we started the pull bag, when we started doing comic stuff on Geekcast Radio, on the Geekcast Radio podcast, it was because you wrote a review for Batman 13, which was the introduction to Death of the Family, Return of the Joker, all that stuff. We did all that and everything else. That was 2012, 2013. The New 52 started, what, 2011? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere, yeah. So New 52 started in 2011. That's when Scott Snyder started writing on Batman. We went through, we reviewed Court of Owls, Night of Owls, which is the same, the whole storyline thing there. That Court of Owls was great when it came to Snyder's writing. Death of the Family, I thought it was going to be really awesome, and I really liked it up until the end, because that ending was sadly anticlimactic, to quote the Joker from Batman Beyond. And then the whole 0 year thing, I just fell so hard off. I'm like, no, wrong, not, just no. Endgame was pretty damn good. I kind of liked Endgame. I thought that was great. But we have had, up until the New 52 relaunch into Rebirth, we have had 5 years of Scott Snyder writing the Batman title. Like you just said, I wanted a change. I wanted somebody else. I got tired of Snyder's writing. Not that it wasn't good. Not that I didn't enjoy certain parts of it. But overall, I feel that my opinions towards his Batman writing outside of Court of Owls are more negative than positive. Like I said, I like certain things, but the things I didn't like kept popping up more and more and more. And I just want a cool, fun Batman story again. And I didn't feel that he had given that to me, especially with the whole 0 year thing. That was just ridiculous. We've talked about that before. Anything else you want to bring up?
I thought there was something else I wanted to bring up, but can't really remember at the moment. Kind of weird. But no, I mean, I have more stuff coming down the pipe, I think. I'm looking forward to the top 100 to see what plays out. I'm not going to be participating in most of it, like I
I'm
typically
not
do in
either.
top 100s, more so because of time, and I've got school, and getting to be too much at the end of the year right now for me to focus.
Yeah.
I still have to finish my top 100. I have like 158 out of 100, that I got to whittle down to 100 and organize and then turn in. And then I'm going to try to be there for maybe the last episode of the top 100.
Right.
So that I can, because I'm more curious about the last 20 than I am like anything else in the whole series, or the last 25 or whatever. I don't know how it's playing out, but
yeah, I've got so much. Even with not going to California at this point in time right now until Christmas, I've got so much editing I have to do. I've got to edit and record all the Palka stuff. I've got 5 or 6 episodes left to edit to that. I've got 10 episodes of the Powers of Grayskull series I have to edit, and we still have to record the final 10 for She-Ra. So I've got so much production going on. I told Kevin, I said, I'm sorry, I just can't submit a list. And if I was going to submit a list, and I actually went and tried to make a list, I made 2 lists. I made one that had a joke number, had a joke number 1, and one had a real number 1. And I wasn't sure which one I was going to actually submit to him if I was going to submit. Basically, my joke number 1 was basically Scrappy Doo is the best cartoon character ever.
Which calls back to our 2010 argument on the website of where Mike says that's the official opinion, and I says it is
not. But yeah, I don't know. I've just got so much other stuff going on right now that the top 100 is not something that I can dedicate the time to. And I've said this for years now, if I can't give the listeners, if I can't give our fans, the time and effort to put into doing something like that, and even to be on the recordings, I'm not going to do it. I'm not just going to go in there and half-ass it. There's no way. I just refuse to do stuff like that. So that's what's going on there. Coming up next week, I think we're going to have a special guest.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not quite sure which guest, but we'll have a guest.
For one of these special guests will be a first time ever for Altered Geek, so it'll be a very different voice.
And then one of them may be a returning guest that's a voice that's on Altered Geek that's
hasn't been on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, there's lots of new content coming. I'm trying to think of something special to do for episode I know it's a ways away, but episode 200.
Right.
Because that would be the first podcast on the network to hit 200.
Right.
If I keep up production like I'm doing.
Right.
So, because even when I want to take a break or I'm like, I don't feel like doing it. The only reason we're recording this on a Friday is because I had a friend in town that lives in Wisconsin now. And I live in Michigan, and he drove 10 hours, and he came, and he's going to his brother's wedding on Saturday.
Right.
So he crashed at my house for a little bit, and we went to lunch and hung out on Thursday. So yeah, it was and that's normally my podcast night, but yeah, obviously different circumstances. So
yeah, well, it's still going to get out there to the people. So, let's see. For those that are listening, I want to know, and I want you to comment on this in the post, and we'll respond to it next week. When you look at news stories online, do you look at Twitter trending, Facebook trending, or how do you find your news other than watching it on television or reading the newspaper? Does anybody even still read the newspaper anymore? So yeah, comment on the comment on the post on the website for that, and we will respond to that next week. Also, since the quote-unquote holiday season is coming up, what are your holiday frustrations? Basically, what I mean by this is basically what irks you the most about media and commercialism during the holidays. The fact that there's already Christmas stuff out before it's even Halloween or anything like that. So be sure to let us know, and we'll respond next week to those. Take it away.
Yeah. Oh, and has anybody seen, or like, I'm kind of curious about the Machinima Transformers?
Okay, I will watch it. I've only seen the introduction to it. I will watch it all sometime before next week, and we can actually, yes, that one special guest that we were talking about that we're not going to reveal yet. I'll rewatch it, and we can all three of us have a discussion like we used to on a certain Unleashing the Beast podcast. That's going to be fun. I will rewatch Combiner Wars.
That's
No, we'll make sure to keep it clean. But I'm just saying, that'll be a fun discussion. So,
I've got a lot of opinions on that. Lots of opinions. I guess until next week, let us know what you guys want to see or have on the podcast, questions or suggestions of content. And until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geek.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @alteredgeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.